All right, another video here. So here today, reviewing Nicolas Winding Refn. Could be butchering that. Her Private Hell. He's known for making movies like Brunson, Drive, and Only God Forgives. And I know he's made the Pusher series and Valhalla Rising, which is our movies I'm not familiar with, and I'm still on my watch list. But yeah, so Her Private Hell, starring Sophie Thatcher as Ellie Thunders, Charles Melton as Private K, and Havana Rose Liu, who is also known for, me personally, only known for Lurker. It's another movie film. Charles Melton, everyone's seen him from Warface and Beef primarily, and I know people who watch Riverdale is also familiar with that. And Sophie Thatcher, Heretic, Companion, uh, Yellow Jackets as well. So it's more, this is going to be a review, but also I'm adding a rant as well to this. But just going to start off just explaining the synopsis of the film. So the movie revolves around three primary characters, which is going to be Sophie Thatcher's Ellie Thunders, Charles Melton Private K, and Havana Rose Dominique, which in this film she plays as Ellie Thunder's stepmom. So the whole premise of the film, I can't tell you. Simple as that. I cannot tell you what this movie's about. So, but I could tell you. See, okay, I'm actually going to start off with the rant. So, with the rant I have is this film wants to go somewhere. So, the leading plot you start off as with Ellie Thatcher's characters walking through the fog, and she sees this girl named Hunter, and Hunter's backstory is not really explained at all. You just known her that she's supposedly in this new film with Ellie Thunders, and that the first interaction is how Ellie Thunder says she owns Hunter. Doesn't really go deeper than that, and just from there, it just goes all over the place in my opinion. I mean, I feel like if anyone who's watched this film could say the same. I mean, visually, it's a great visuals. It has a great score behind it. The plot is very, very, very lacking. Truly, it goes somewhere, then it doesn't. Then there's a new plot line, then it just goes all over the place towards the middle act. The middle act, it goes all over the place. But so the first few movies you're building around Ellie, Dominique, and Hunter. All three of them are they're building the character up, and then you learn about Ellie's father, which is Johnny Thunders. But in this movie, they he goes off by Daddy. They call him Daddy. So the dad gives the backstories about this the antagonist of the film, which is the Leatherman who kills women whenever there's this fog, like Silent Hill-esque fog. He lurks around and he just goes on a killing spree on anyone. Then from there, you go from Charles Melton's character, which I thought was the best parts of the film, but it's very lacking of what they give you of his character. It's very, very lacking, and I wish there was really more. Because when he's on screen, I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued, I'm locked in, I'm reeled on what's gonna happen. But what you're giving with Private K is very minimum, and there's no really explanations at all. You get backstory, but it doesn't go any deeper than what they give you, which is frustrating in a way. Because I think he's an interesting character in the film, but there's nothing to go off with. I mean, I see as Private K as a Batman. This is an officer. All right, let me rewind and let me explain. So he's a American officer. I think it's a GI. I could be wrong, but so he's an officer who's in. They don't even tell you where the locations at. I wish I could say. I mean, I probably missed it, but so I just know this location. It's with this officers and Yakuza. I know the Yakuza's involved too. I could be. I'm missing out parts, but I know the Yakuza's involved. But I know from this information I'm telling, it's not really much to explain because, like I said, you see these characters for like 2 or 3 scenes, and that's it. You never see them again. So, Private K is more of a, I guess you could say, he's a vigilante in this world. So his idea is looking for the Leatherman who supposedly kidnapped his daughter. In this movie, he's killing the women, but supposedly he kidnapped Private K's daughter. So Private K's life is just trying to find the Leatherman and to kill him. And supposedly to kill the Leatherman and free his daughter, you have to chop the leg, not the legs. I'm sorry, the hands. You have to chop his hands off and breaks the curse, I guess, whatever it was. But like I said, I can't really go more off Private K because there's nothing to say. All these characters, I mean, there's more quote unquote plot lines with Ellie, Dominic, and Hunter, but what they give you, it's I don't know. I really that's why I want to rant about it because it's a very slow film, and I'm not knocking it down just because it's a slow movie, not at all. But just what happens and the plot, it just the payoff at the end was very slapped. For me, it felt like a slap to the face. You're watching the film and everything's building up, and then towards the end, you get a whole big nothing burger. Nothing's explained. Everything's erratic. It feels like characters are feeling manic. Nothing's explained. And I wish I'm lying, but this is what we get. And mind you, this is the same director that gave you Drive, Brunson, and Only God Forgives. This movie gives me very, very esque of Only God Forgives by the visuals, the tone, and the score in a way. But from the trailers, I came in expecting this was going to be, in my opinion, better than Only God Forgives, but it's not. Not at all. Nowhere near. And watching Only God Forgives when it first released, I wasn't a big fan of it, so I got a couple watches in it, and then they grew onto me. So, but this film, I feel like no matter how many watches I put into it, or if I go back for another showing, it's going to be the same result. You know, I mean, I could go on and review or talk about Only God Forgives, but that's that's not the point of this video. But I'm trying to get to the point where it's very Only God Forgives esque vibes. That's the vibes I got straight off. But this whole movie was just so weird, all over the place. I mean, mind you, there's nothing wrong with a weird movie, but it's all over the place, and it just doesn't. Nothing gives you an answer. You just whatever shows is what you get, you know. But the main plot is the Leatherman and the girls. But like I said, anything out of that, it's they don't give you much to explain. Everything is just, I guess, for your interpretation. But there's nothing to interpret, you know. Man, yeah, no, I wish this movie was way more better than what it was. It wasn't. I wasn't saying I wasn't excited, but I had anticipation. I was like, okay, this looks promising from the trailers, but the movie was just a whole nothing burger. Uh, my showing, there was just people laughing and making fun of the scenes because some of the scenes that are written is just kind of head scratching. Like there's one scene. Now I'm going to spoiler territories. At this point, I'm going to spoiler territories. So if you haven't watched the film or you want to watch it, I'd say just come back to this. Or if you don't care, you can just keep listening. So in this, there's this one intimate scene where it's Ellie Thunders and this other character named Nico, and it's an intimate scene, and they're getting intimate, and then you see Hunter sees them getting intimate in this room. So Hunter walks towards them, and there's like a glass panel. Can't really see nothing, but you could see the what's going on and all that. So she's walking towards the glass panel, and then behind Hunter, you see the Leatherman showing up, and then the Leatherman just and no, then Private K is supposedly watching. Don't know how he's watching because he's from one area and then he gets teleported to a next area where he's watching all this go down. He's trying to save Hunter, but he can't. But like I said, it's really weird. But uh, yeah, no. So Hunter is walking up to this to them uh, getting intimate, and she's getting excited, and you just see the Leatherman just ready to pounce on her and kill her. And at that point, the Leatherman does kill her, rips her apart. Mind you, rips her apart. All her blood goes into the glass panel where they're getting intimate. You see the blood everywhere, and she's dead. She's pretty much confirmed dead. So after that scene, a little nothing burger scene happens, but it goes from for like a few seconds, but then it goes from there to the next scene where you're back with the Dominique, the stepmother, and Ellie, and they're just talking like nothing happened. Literally, Ellie saw the blood. You don't see in the movie she saw it, but obviously the Nico character and Ellie, you can't miss the blood. Like the blood is all over the wall and the glass, and they just treat it like nothing happened. So then the next scene follows up, which is Dominique and Ellie just arguing about Nico, and that's a whole another plot, side plot. But it was such pointless because it means nothing to the plot, and they just go on like nothing happened. They don't say, "Oh, where's Hunter?" or just question it. They just go on like nothing happens. Like she literally died in front of Ellie, and they just continue like it's nothing. And that part, it just leave me as like a huge plot hole, and it was just so confusing because I'm like, there's no way these characters are that brain dead. And it's just part of the movie that it really bothered me. Like she died in front of Ellie. I can't. I don't want to sound like a repeating bullet, but it just she died in front of her, and they could proceeded like nothing happened. It was just this movie has so much flaws. I really wanted to like it. Like I said, Private K's character was probably the best part of the film, but it's just you get nothing. You get nothing out of his character. And I don't know. I say about the Leatherman, his design was kind of wasn't bad, but if you played Prince of Persia: Warrior Within, I'm gonna throw a picture up, but his character design reminded me of the Wraith mask, but less bedazzled in a way. But yeah, no, it's coming from this director. I expected a little better. I've seen people complain where his past films hasn't been up. He shoots himself in the foot in a way, I guess, because there's this movie I've seen called The Neon Robot, I believe. I could be wrong, but supposedly that was a whole nother nothing burger. But I have some. I am intrigued to going into his filmography and just see how it is because I definitely want to see Pusher for sure. But I know was probably Brunson and Drive was probably my favorite film that he's made. I can't even though Brunson was more of a biopic going based off Charlie Brunson, but Drive was what it was. Only God Forgives. I have to give this. You know, I wasn't a fan of Only God Forgives back then. Like I said in my initial watch, but then it grew on me, and I liked it for what it was. But no, this movie was just so disappointing to me. I mean, I can't. If you enjoyed the movie, I mean, I don't knock it down, but it's just this movie was just a whole nothing burger. I wish it was something, but not even. Sophie Thatcher could have saved it, or Charles Melton. Just the writing in this film, and I don't know, the writing was really poor. It was very poor, because there's this one scene for like another scene for like 2 minutes. They're just meowing at each other and acting like a dog. No context on that. They're just acting like a dog and meowing and barking. Like I said, like there was a bunch of scenes in this movie where it was just a head scratcher. Like, what am I watching? Like I said, there's nothing wrong with watching weird movies. It's just the end product and the product you get from this movie, just nothing, nothing at all. So I mean, I give this movie if I'm basing it off a 10, a score rating of a 10, I have to give it a 4. It's, I wouldn't say it's you shouldn't watch it. I say you should watch it just to experience it. Everyone has their own opinions. Visually, like I said, it's a great movie visually. Not great, good. It gives me cyberpunk-ish vibes, and like I said, only God forgives with the way the aesthetics. The score was very good. I think the score also helped with with what I was watching, but it wasn't. It just wasn't it, you know. And yeah, no, that's my thoughts on her private hell. So yeah, if you liked the video or enjoyed, I want to keep pumping these out whenever I watch a new film. I mean, next film I want to put out is The Invite, but as of now, yeah, no, that's her private hell. Yeah. So that's all I gotta say.